In 1980, David Bowie unveiled Ashes to Ashes, a song that seemed to encapsulate everything he had been and everything he feared becoming. The music video was dazzling and ambitious, an expensive, surreal production that pushed the boundaries of what pop music could be. Yet, at its core, it was also about reckoning with illusion, addiction, and the ghosts of Bowie's own past. And during its creation, Bowie found himself confronted with a moment so stark and unplanned that it felt like life itself mocking the very themes he was wrestling with. It all came from a passing stranger, unaware of the cameras and the millions of British pounds invested, and that stranger cut through it all with a single dismissive line that reminded Bowie that no mask, no myth, no persona is safe from reality's blunt edge, leaving him utterly humiliated. This is the story of Ashes to Ashes, David Bowie's cosmic farewell to the 1970s. Hi, I'm Andy Fenstermaker, host of Poetic Wax, a weekly music history series and podcast where I dig into the record collection I've been building since the 1990s and explore the sometimes little known or little told history of a band, album, or song from within. In August of 1980, David Bowie released Ashes to Ashes, a song that was instantly recognizable to longtime fans, yet deeply unsettling in its message. It was more than just a lead single from his new album, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. It was a sequel to a song that had made him a star over a decade earlier, Space Oddity. And it revealed what had become of Major Tom, the doomed astronaut. This was Bowie standing at a career crossroads. The 1970s had been a decade of constant reinvention. Ziggy Stardust, Plastic Soul, The Thin White Duke, the experimental Berlin Trilogy. But by 1980, the cultural tide was shifting. Punk had come and gone, New Wave was on the rise, and Bowie was ready to move into that next chapter, all without abandoning the artistic sophistication that had defined his most adventurous work. From 1976 to 1979, Bowie lived through what many called his most creatively daring period, the Berlin Trilogy, which produced Low in 1977, Heroes, also from 1977, and Lodger from 1979. Collaborating with Brian Eno and Tony Visconti, Bowie crafted albums blending experimental ambient music, krautrock rhythms, and unconventional song structures. Critics hailed these works, and they still do to this day, but they weren't designed for mass chart domination. By the end of Lodger, Bowie had pushed the avant-garde experiments pretty much to their limit, in his mind. In interviews, he admitted wanting to make a more commercially viable record next, but without diluting his art. Scary Monsters and Super Creeps would be that bridge, retaining the creative edge of Berlin while embracing new wave textures, tighter song structures, and radio-friendly hooks. And at its heart was Ashes to Ashes, a song that both closed the book on the 70s and opened a new one for the 1980s. David Bowie introduced the world to Major Tom in 1969 with Space Oddity, weaving a chilling tale of an astronaut breaking free from his earthly bonds. As the track unfolds, Major Tom drifts into space with eerie calm. Here I am, floating around my tin can, far above the world, planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. This momentum captured more than cosmic awe. Bowie was humanizing the space age, portraying astronauts not as stoic heroes, but fragile beings adrift in overwhelming isolation. In Bowie's words, quote, "The publicity image of a spaceman at work is of an automaton, and my Major Tom is nothing if not a human being." Major Tom's fate, emotionally numbed and disconnected, reflects a sense of existential collapse fused with awe, yet fractured by silence. At the song's end, he's gone, isolated, resigned, fading into the void. Quote, "At the end of the song, Major Tom is completely emotionless. His mind is completely blown. He's everything then." The name Major Tom itself rings both familiar and uncanny. Its origin possibly inspired by a poster Bowie spotted in Bromley advertising the music hall performer Tom Major father of UK Prime Minister John Major, the name lodged in his memory and surfaced at just the right moment. Further inspired by 2001, A Space Oddity, a film he described as, quote, a revelation, Bowie channeled cosmic curiosity and cultural fever into Major Tom. The song's complex structure, storyboarded by Bowie, unfolds like a mini space opera from countdown to fade. In a little over 5 minutes, the song includes a faded intro, a 12-bar solo verse, a liftoff sequence, a day in the life style outro to fade. I touched on this very recently with Hans Finger. You might want to check out that video and the rock album that completely shocked Bowie. With intricate chord progressions and melodic shifts, the track underpinned Major Tom's unfolding isolation with equal parts technical brilliance and stark vulnerability. The single marked Bowie's first chart success, landing him at number 5 in the UK and acting as the spark for his meteoric rise. It earned him the Ivor Novello Award for songwriting, setting the stage for the theatrical alter egos that would follow. And from the start, audiences saw parallels between Major Tom and Bowie himself. His outsider persona, androgyny, and shape-shifting artistry made him seem as much an observer of Earth as the fictional astronaut was. The parallels weren't lost on the listener. Major Tom became a powerful metaphor for alienation. Fitting for Bowie, who would continue to explore identities in space, fame, and solitude throughout his career. Over time, Major Tom transcended the song. He became a recurring ghost in Bowie's catalog, a symbolic vessel for his internal struggles, creative metamorphoses, and the price of stardom. Eventually, Bowie would confront that myth head-on in Ashes to Ashes, offering a cold, confessional update on what became of his cosmic counterpart. But before jumping into Major Tom Resurrected, I want to pause for a quick moment. You can check out the transcript of this episode in full blog form and hear the music discussed within this episode over on my Substack. You can sign up for free at poeticwax.substack.com. Also, a quick shout out and quick thanks to my paid subscribers. Join today for just $2 a month and get early access to new episodes, members-only videos, and more. Now for the resurrection. At its surface, Ashes to Ashes functions as a stylistic sequel to Space Oddity, with Major Tom returning from the void. But this time, he's not the famed astronaut of public myth. Instead, he's become a junkie, strung out in heaven's high, hitting an all-time low. Major Tom has become a haunting inversion of his prior cosmic adventure. These extend beyond just lyrics. They're a confession cloaked in surreal metaphor, merging innocence with despair. Yet Bowie's jagged lyricism goes deeper than mythological reprise. It cloaks his own demons. In interviews around the release, Bowie himself described the story as, quote, a story of corruption. Major Tom, once lifted on the wings of technological triumph, is now revealed to be decayed from within, corrupted by the excesses of progress, addiction, and isolation. Major Tom was, in fact, a conduit for Bowie's own struggles, a distant expression of his battle with addiction. Metamorphed all that into the Major Tom character, Bowie said, recounting how the astronaut became a symbol for his desire to get clean and to escape not gravity or space, but chemical dependencies. There's something deeply unsettling about the nursery rhyme framework that Bowie wraps all of this around within the narrative. He referred to the song as, quote, an ode to childhood, a popular nursery rhyme twisted through the lens of later life disillusionment. That childlike sing-song melody was undercut by lyrics like, my mother said, to get things done, you'd better not mess with Major Tom, framing a story where corruption creeps into a lullaby. But musically, Ashes to Ashes is deceptively intricate. The song is built on an unusual 3-bar loop rather than the standard 4, creating a sense of rhythmic imbalance that keeps the listener slightly on edge. Its harmonic language is partly inspired by Inchworm, a song from the 1952 Danny Kaye film Hans Christian Andersen. Bowie had learned its chords early in his musical life, describing them as childlike and tinged with melancholy. In Ashes to Ashes, this melancholic innocence is filtered through layered synthesizers, funk-inflected bass, and angular guitar textures, giving it a bittersweet, dreamlike quality. Tony Visconti's production further destabilizes the track. The bass drum pushes against the groove, and Dennis Davis's inverted ska beat lends it a sideways lurch. Bowie's vocal delivery is half detached, half pleading, and often layered with harmonies that sound like memories echoing back through time. He opens with a confession that seeps from under the singer's voice. I've never done good things. I've never done bad things. It registers as a self-deprecating mantra for inadequacy, an emotional tremor of someone reflecting on creative achievements and personal failures alike, acknowledging a life lived off balance. Every line bleeds with latent meaning. Want an axe to break the ice, want to come down right now, is not only a metaphorical cry for emotional release, but an explicit desire to escape the numbness of his condition and the coldness of staying frozen by addiction and fame. There's a richness of subtext that also lies in the image of the little green wheels are following me. This has been interpreted as a symbol of relentless pursuit, maybe the dealer in a drug trade, maybe the addict's compulsion itself, maybe paranoia. Ultimately, Ashes to Ashes would be Bowie's elegy to the 1970s, a public reckoning for Bowie. By framing Major Tom's fall as both literal and symbolic, he narrates not just the demise of a fictional astronaut, but of his own famed alter ego, and, by extension, of the illusions of his stardom. Quote, I was wrapping up the 70s really for myself. That seemed a good enough epitaph for it. We've lost him. He's out there somewhere. We'll leave him be. We must now turn to the music video. David Bowie's choice to embody Pierrot in the Ashes to Ashes video wasn't an aesthetic whim. It was a reclamation of his theatrical roots. Pierrot, the sorrowful clown, became one of Bowie's most striking visual alter egos. He studied mime and theater under Lindsay Kemp and even starred in Kemp's 1967 production of Pierrot in Turquoise, a deep thread Bowie later resurrected when he took on the same role for this video. That original Pierrot costume, designed by Russian designer Natasha Kornilov, who accompanied him throughout his Bowie mining years, was reinterpreted for Ashes to Ashes. It featured somber face paint, a pointed hat, and ethereal silver-toned fabric. Kornilov had a long-standing collaboration with Bowie, crafting many of his most iconic stage looks, weaving theater and rock into a single transformative vision. The Pierrot persona captures the dualities of comedy and tragedy, and of innocence and artifice. In the video, he functions as a everyman figure, seen through the lens of loss and memory, haunting the fragmented landscapes of Bowie's psyche. Bowie didn't just appear in the video, he crafted it, storyboarding every frame, and collaborating closely with director David Mallet, shaping every surreal scene. They filmed over 3 days at Pet Level Beach, far longer than the typical one-day shoot of the era. Visually, the video is a blend of symbolism. Bowie as Pierrot promenades along a beach in choreographed yet unsettling procession. A bulldozer ominously advances toward new romantic dancers, participants from London's Blitz Club scene, which actually included Visage's Steve Strange. They follow Bowie in a mournful, almost funeral procession dance or cultural purge. The video utilized Quantal Paintbox technology to distort reality. The sea appears pink, the sky an unreal shade of black, and colors shift as if seen through a hallucinogenic lens. These effects crafted a dreamlike, unsettling aesthetic that teased both nostalgia and dislocation. Freudian dream imagery surfaces in the bulldozer, an emblem of destructive force, plowing its way through stylized mourners, suggesting themes of time displacement and ritual cleansing. When Ashes to Ashes premiered, the New Romantic movement was nascent. Bowie's video served as a manifesto for aesthetic flamboyance and theatrical subversion. With Blitz kids like Steve Strange making cameo appearances, he signaled affinity and mentorship with a movement that would soon define the look and feel of early 1980s pop. This video was groundbreaking on the technical level, too. It's widely regarded as one of the era's defining early music videos and among the more influential from the kind of early or pre-MTV era. Imitators followed. Music videos by Duran Duran, Adam Ant, and The Cure borrowed its surreal palette and choreography. The visual language woven by Bowie and Mallet proved formative for MTV's golden age, even though the clip predates the channel's official launch. Record readers of The Mirror voted Ashes to Ashes and its successor, Fashion, as the best music videos of 1980. Rolling Stone would rank it among the greatest of all time. Its audacity in marrying high art, camp, and cutting-edge production made it a lone star for the music video as a medium. But there's one iconic anecdote from the video shoot that encapsulates both Bowie's thematic intentions and the human reality behind his mythic image. As he was filmed, Bowie walked in costume on the beach when an elderly man with a dog paused to ask his name. The director introduced the two, to which the old man replied, "It's some bastard in a clown suit." Bowie later said that this moment humiliated him in the best of ways, reminding him of his humanity beneath the artifice of his creations. This scene, unwritten yet unforgettable, became part of the Ashes to Ashes mythos, where art, identity, and a near surreal tableau evened out with the simple, unsparing gaze of real life. That fleeting encounter with the old man and his dog reduced Bowie's painstakingly crafted Pierrot persona to some bastard in a clown suit, in a way that feels almost too perfect as a metaphor for Ashes to Ashes. Here, Bowie staging one of the most expensive and ambitious music videos ever made at the time, embodying a tragic archetype that traced back to his earliest theatrical training, and yet, in the eyes of an ordinary passersby, it was stripped of all grandeur, laid bare as nothing more than foolishness. This tension between appearance and reality sits at the very heart of Ashes to Ashes. The song itself is about confronting illusions. Major Tom, once a symbol of utopian possibility, is revealed decades later to be an addict lost in space, a reflection of Bowie's own struggles with substance abuse and disillusionment of the 1970s. Just as the old man punctured the myth of the Pierrot with a blunt remark, Bowie punctures his own mythology in the song, dragging his central figure down from the heavens and into the darkness of human frailty. There's a universal humbling in that moment. Bowie's art was always about transformation, masks, and personas, but Ashes to Ashes exposes what lies underneath them: vulnerability, decay, and the inevitability of time. The old man's words were a reminder that no matter how carefully one constructs an image, be it Major Tom in orbit, or Pierrot on the beach, or even some random stranger sitting in front of a camera, the world will always find a way to reduce it to its simplest, rawest truth. The beach encounter was a living epilogue to the song itself. Just as Ashes to Ashes is Bowie's confrontation with his past illusions, the old man's comet confronts the illusions of the present, showing that the mask of Pierrot, for all its beauty and strangeness and everything that it was, can still be pierced by a single, unadorned voice of reality. Ashes to Ashes was released as a single on August 8, 1980, and it became Bowie's second UK #1, staying at the top of the chart for 2 weeks. It was also his fastest-selling single up to that point. Its success showed that Bowie could still command mainstream attention without simplifying his art, a feat that few of his peers managed with such consistency. The song's influence can be felt in the new romantic movement, from Visage to Duran Duran, and its blend of nostalgia and reinvention became a recurring template for Bowie's later work. Following Scary Monsters, Bowie entered into a new commercial phase. In 1983, Let's Dance propelled him to global superstardom with slick, danceable hits. It was a sharp contrast to the oblique narratives of Ashes to Ashes. Bowie had condensed an entire decade's worth of artistic and personal evolution all the way down into one song, a work that bridged past and future, musically sophisticated, yet still accessible, visually striking, yet deeply introspective. With Ashes to Ashes, Major Tom was to stand as a farewell and a warning, a self authored myth that allowed Bowie to bury one of his most famous creations, only to resurrect him when it suited the narrative. And that resurrection is as biblical as the title itself. Bowie being Bowie, the story never truly ends. Major Tom may have been written off as a casualty, but in Bowie's universe, even the dead have a way of reappearing, reframed and reinterpreted for the next audience. The shadow of Major Tom continued to linger. Bowie would reference him again in 1995's Hollow Space Boy, and indirectly in otherworldly imagery in his final album, Black Star. But as the 1980s opened, Bowie put Tom to rest. He left behind the fractured landscapes of Berlin and stepped into a world where music videos were as important as singles, where image and sound were really inseparable. Ashes to Ashes was his first great masterpiece of this new era. It was a song that looked backward with clear eyes and forward with unshakable ambition.